Hello everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And this is our second detailed video on the Survival SOP or Standing Operating Procedures. And this video will be on OPSEC or Operational Security. The first video I did was of the overview of everything I have in my Survival SOP, all the categories I have. And then the first detailed video I did was on analyzing the threat, gathering intel, challenge and password, rally points, things like that. I'll link both of those below in the description and the first pinned comment so you can check those out. Well, like I said, this video is on operational security and OPSEC. We'll go through what does that mean, what is being the gray man also, and then I will talk about disciplines, light, noise, food, and whatnot. I did a video a few months ago on those disciplines, so we're going to edit that in, splice it in so we don't reinvent the wheel. And you guys, it's a great video, and you'll check that out, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. If you're enjoying these videos, please hit that like button, share this with people that haven't started an SOP and might need to get theirs going. Comment throughout the video on suggestions you have for improvements, what was left out, what you would change. They're always welcome. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. So what is operational security? It's basically keeping all your information yourself. The way I can explain it is like in Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. Well, first rule of prepping, you don't talk about your preps. You don't advertise what you're prepping for, how much you have, how much food, water, ammo, security, all that stuff. You don't, blurt that out to the world. Operational security is you keep it within your family, your group, your mag, yourself, and you don't advertise it. Because when that SHTF event happens, that natural disaster, you don't want the angry mass hordes coming to you to get stuff because, well, you told everybody you were the prepper and you have all the stuff. So you're trying to avoid that by keeping operational security or OPSEC. Keep all the information to yourself. This especially goes for you if you have children in your family or your group. They should never talk about it. They should never mention to their friends, their teachers, principals, whoever it may be, other parents, what training you have, what mom or dad has stored, how much food they have, water, all the cool equipment they have. You got to really stress to them how important it is to not let anybody know. Now, does this mean you never trust anybody else? Because then you can say community is important, which it is. So no, you're going to vet people. Over time, you're going to learn who is a prepper, who you can trust, who's like-minded, and you're going to start slowly sharing information. Maybe you don't share everything. This includes your family. You might want to try to get them to start prepping, get them involved, but do you tell them everything you have? Do you, tell them that they can come over and when something happens? Some people do, some people don't, but make sure you think about family. Do you want them to know everything you're doing? Like I said, some people have families where they can do that, and some, well, don't, because, it's not going to end well for them with their family coming over when a time comes up. So that's what operational security is in a nutshell. If you have comments below, put them down there about what you do for OPSEC or suggestions as well. And this leads us into being the gray man. So what's the gray man? Well, the gray man is the guy that fits in. He blends in. He doesn't stand out. He looks like everybody else. Basically, you're not a tactical. You don't look like this when, you're going out to get a loaf of bread, or grocery shopping. You're not all done up. You're fit in. You dress like everybody else. People are skinny. You're kind of getting skinny. People are dirty. You're dirty. People are scared, acting like this. You try to fit in. Basically, you act like a sheep. You just don't think like a sheep, and you're not prepared like one. So that's what it means by being the gray man. Just fit in. Don't stick out. Don't be a target. Don't be someone that people are going to come to because they know you have stuff. So be that gray man. Now we're going to get into the disciplines. Like I said, we're going to start the video here in a minute. It's the noise, light, smell, food, trigger, go through all those. So it's coming up right now. Hope you enjoy it. So let's talk about light discipline. So the lights go out, the power goes down. It could be just a regular power outage, natural disaster, something like that, or it could be a major event, EMP, cyber attack, something like that, where the power's out. In a regular event, probably no big deal. Not to worry about, if it's just like the lightning storm, it's going to come on in an hour or two because you get word from the power company. Not sure you have to worry about light discipline there, but let's talk about a little longer event. Even if it's a hurricane, tornado, something that's going to last a long time, you need to start thinking about light discipline to not attract attention to yourself. And that's the theme of all these disciplines is don't attract unwanted attention to yourself to keep yourself safe. So for light discipline, you don't want to be the only house on the block that's lit up like a Christmas tree. I got a neighbor here so that as soon as the power goes out, they got a whole house generator, that thing pops on and boom, they're lit up. They're like the only one on the street that, are lit up, like a beacon saying, come here, take my stuff. That's basically what it says to me. So don't be that person. So what can you do? Well, you can start using some candles in parts of the house where they face, the street or neighbor, and you have no way to block the light. They produce less light. People think you only have a candle. No big deal. But, you've been prepping. You have a generator. You have solar. You want to use lights because that's what you used it for. You want to have more of a normalcy to yourself and your family. So what do you do then? Well, you can get blackout covers for your windows. You install them, put them on, pretty easy to do. And they cover, almost all the light. And you can do whatever you want behind them, and no one's wiser to the outside. You can also, because if you're in an area where there's, tornadoes, hurricanes, you might have wood cut out already because you want to board up your windows. So you can do that as well. There's two theories: board up inside, board up outside. Board up outside, people are going to see, but it protects the glass, maybe. But something hits that wood hard enough, that plywood, it's going to probably hit that glass anyway, and the glass will fall inside. So some people say you should board up inside. If you do that, it doesn't protect the glass, but it'll keep it on the outside of the house. Also, you can paint that plywood black and then put it up from the inside, and then people don't know, is that just a blacked out window? Is it boarded up? Are there people? It just keeps you more secure, keeps people guessing. They'll move on to somewhere else where they know there's lights and people inside, and maybe they have stuff they want. So think about boarding up your windows in this event. If you don't have any of that, you can just start putting up blankets in the windows. You can staple them to the molding, hang them with pins, finishing nails, whatever. But moving blankets are good because they're usually thicker. They're usually black or dark color. Put them in the window from the street. People don't know if there's lights on or not, or if they are just curtains, whatever. So moving blankets are great. So those are the ideas I have for your house to keep that, light down. You want to keep as much light down as possible being detected from other people. Now, let's say, because the power's out, you have electrical appliances, you can't cook, because you need that. You want to cook outside, so you start out a fire outside. Well, people are going to see the fire. Maybe you don't want them to see the fire to draw attention. So how are you going to cover up the fire? Well, you can use a Dakota fire pit. You dig a couple holes in the ground. There's many videos online you can watch, but they're great for hiding smoke. They're great for hiding the flames. You can't really see them. You can still cook on them. They're good. If you don't want to do that, or you can't, you still have to build a fire in a fire pit or on the ground. Start thinking about how you're going to shield that from prying eyes. Whether that's you build it and use the buildings to block some of the view, you stack up pallets, or use some other kind of shielding, hay bales, whatever. Think about how you're going to block the visibility of those flames from other people. So just keep that in mind while you're out there. Also, flashlights. If it's an over power outage, use flashlights all you want. Long-term event though, maybe you want to use that flashlight sparingly so you don't draw attention. People know where you're at. You're walking around your property. They see you because you have a light on. Maybe you want to switch to red light flashlights. That's why the military does it. Red light doesn't travel as far. It's not as bright. Don't use blue though. Blue is very easy to spot and travels very far. Blue light's not good at all. That's what I have for light discipline. Write your comments below what you want to add to that. And we're going to move on to noise discipline. So obviously this means be quiet, because people hear stuff. They're going to come find you because they want whatever makes that noise. If it's a common power outage, you don't have to worry about running that generator because 4 or 5 of your neighbors are running one. No big deal. Everybody, doesn't need if everybody knows you have a generator, no big deal. Now, however, if it's a longer term event and you want to stay hidden, not draw attention, you got to think about, how am I going to keep this noise low so I can still use my stuff, but not have people come by that I don't want to come by. So you have a generator. How are you going to quiet it down? Well, one thing you do is you can shield it from people. What do you want to use? Your shielding is wood. You take plywood, you cut it, and you place it around it, even on top. Make sure there's enough airflow to get in there, but that muffles the generator immensely. I've tried this myself. It works kind of great. Try it yourself. Start up your generator. Cut plywood to fit all around it on top. Go out to your street. Can you hear it? Probably you can hear it, but it's muffled. Do you know where it's coming from? Can you tell which house? Maybe not. It works great. So think about, plywood that you use to board up your windows. Cut a few extra pieces. Have it to muffle the noise of your generator. Next thing you can also do, if you have a tractor, a backhoe, or something to dig with, you dig a pit. Big enough where you can roll that generator down inside. The earth is great at blocking the noise. Put something on top. It still has air access to get in, but that's another great way to muffle the noise of the generator. Some people have sheds they've built just for the generator. They muffle the noise. They're insulated. They have air coming in and out. That'll cut down the noise. So just think about your generator. How are you going to muffle that noise and keep it away from other people? Something else you need to keep out is tools. So not only just power tools like saws and drills and things like that, but you're hammering, chopping with an axe, doing things like that. People are going to hear that. So they're going to want those tools. They go, hey, that guy has a drill and a saw. I need that because I don't have it. I didn't plan ahead. I need to repair something. So you're gonna have to use it sparingly, or use it when there's other noise. You're running your generator, the neighbor is, okay, now it's time to cut that wood, drill those holes, hammer, chop, axe, whatever. Try to mask it with other activities. Other than that, try to use it sparingly, but it's gonna draw attention, so just think about when you're using them and who you're using them around. Next, vehicles, car, truck, tractor, ATV, motorcycle, whatever. If you have something that works, especially if an EMP hit and yours was protected and you have running vehicles, running tractors, people are going to want those because, it's a very good asset to have. So figure out a way. Can't really muffle the noise from a, tractor or a car or something like that. So, you're going to have to use it sparingly at night, things like that. So, you have protection from this. So just keep that in mind. Not a lot of ways to hide that, but keep that in mind. So the last one I have here in this category, well, second to last one actually, is animals. People don't think about their animals. Animals are noisy. And, normal event, people have food, no big deal. But if people don't have food, we're in a food shortage, we're no food, a huge earthquake, let's say hit, and there's no grocery stores, it's 2 or 3 weeks, people getting hungry, maybe something else happened, it's even worse. They're going to come for livestock. They're going to steal your food. Livestock theft happens now. Just guess what's going to happen later on if something bad happens. So, do you keep your cows and goats, chickens, pigs, all the things that make noise, horses even, do you keep them locked inside of a barn, only take them out a little bit at a time to keep the noise down? Come up with a plan. How are you going to reduce the noise? Roosters, incredibly loud. Incredibly, you can hear them from, half mile away. Roosters are super loud. But you're going to need a rooster. You need a rooster for fertilize those eggs so you can make new hens to keep the egg production going, or to make meat birds to eat those. So you can buy rooster collars that go around their necks and they help muffle the noise. Maybe you keep him inside by himself and only bring him out to mate, towards dusk. I don't know, but you're gonna need it. You gotta think about the noise of the rooster, because roosters are jerks anyway, and they don't care who hears them. They're gonna try to be as loud as they can, but think about your animals. Lastly, before I forget, is gunfire. If you're shooting, people are gonna find you. And this could be good or bad. It can be good, in fact, that people know that you have weapons and they're going to stay away from you because they don't want to, cause a problem, get shot. Or it could be someone saying, hey, they have weapons, they have ammo, I need both of those, I'm going to try to go get them. So, you shoot once, no one's going to find you. If you shoot 2 or 3 times, people are going to start homing into where that's coming from. Keep that in mind when you're shooting. So that's all I have for noise discipline. Write down below anything you want to add to that, and we'll move on to the next one, which is smell discipline. This one doesn't come up too often, not too many people think about this, but think about smells. Everybody can smell when someone's cooking bacon or having a barbecue, or cooking something outside. Cooking smells travel, and if you're cooking food and people are hungry, it's going to be like zombies coming trying to get your food. You might even attract animals. So let's talk about how we're going to keep our smell discipline down. So when you're cooking, try to cook inside if possible. Keep the smells inside there, but do it safely. That's the best bet. Secondly, if you're cooking outside, you're gonna have to do it. Think about the wind. Maybe the wind's blowing in a direction where there's not too many people around, in that direction. You're gonna cook during that time of day. You're gonna cook when there's no wind. You're gonna do a lot of prepping so you can cook it fast and be done with it. Or you smell someone else's food cooking and you cook also, so it masks yours. So think about that. What else smells? Fires, whether it be the fire to cook your food or heat yourself, coming out of a chimney. Everybody can smell smoke. If you're the only one with the fire, they're going to come find you. It's hard to keep smoke down. Maybe you do it at night, because it's hard then to locate where it's coming from. So you run your chimney at night, you cook your food at night, and then you just eat it the next day. But people will smell obviously the smoke from a fire. Also, if burning fuel exhaust. If there's not a lot of vehicles running, you're going to be able to smell exhaust, whether from a tractor, ATV, generator, that kind of thing. The exhaust smell will travel. Just something to think about while you're out there. And lastly, this one I'm pretty sure not too many people think about at all, and that's body odor, your smell. You've prepped and you're ready for this, and there's no water, but you know what? You have a camp shower, you have your own water, you have soap, and you have deodorant, so you're clean and you smell good, and that's great. That's what you have there for some normalcy for you and your family. But if you go out, walk around, talk to neighbors, go into town, whatever, and everybody else stinks because they haven't showered in 3 or 4 weeks, and they all smell, and you're doing good, well, you're not the gray man. You're not blending in. You need to be the gray man, so you need to smell. So what does that mean? Well, if you know you're going to meet people, do you have a set of clothes that maybe you've drug through the barn you kept outside, they stink. You put those on because now you smell. Maybe you don't, you got to go into town the next day or so or meet someone, so you don't shower for a day or two. Whatever it is, cover up your smell. Don't be nice and clean smelling when everybody else stinks and you stick out like a sore thumb. Is there a way to cover up smells? Like the cooking smell or, exhaust stuff. Dead, rotting carcasses, cover it up. I don't know if you want to have those around or not. Could you burn tires? You could burn tires because that makes a horrible smell, and that would cover up your cooking smell. You could. You write what ideas do you use, whatever ideas you have, write them below for covering up smells. What would you do to cover up your smell, including the body odor one? What would you do for the body odor coverage? Because you could always, like I said, you could always come home afterwards, clean up, and smell happy again and have some normalcy. Now, moving on to the last one, food discipline. What am I talking about with food discipline? So long-term, grid down, SHTF, major natural disaster, where food is scarce, well, you need to look hungry and skinny like everybody else. I mean, probably good for all of us to lose a few lbs anyway, but if everybody else is hungry and skinny, you kind of need to fit in. You don't want to be that lost character, the big fat guy on a deserted island where everybody else is skinny because they're not eating. Now, I know Lost was a dream or they're all dead or whatever, but you know the concept. You don't want to be the fat person next to all the skinny person. You don't have to be fat. You don't want to be the super healthy fit person next to the skinny people because they're going to know you have stuff and they're going to say you have to share it. Even though you prepared, they're going to say it's not fair and they're going to want to come get it. So we need to prepare for this. So what's one thing you can do for this? Well, you could have a set of baggy clothes that when you go out, you wear. They're big, they're a couple sizes too big, they look like they're falling off you. People see you and they're like, wow, that guy's lost a lot of weight. Look how the clothes are just falling off him. Good. They think, oh, he doesn't have food. That's great too. And like I said, you want to try to be lean anyway. The leaner you are, the more faster you're going to move, the healthier you're going to be anyway. But try the baggy clothes idea. Also, put some suggestions below, how else you would try to blend in, to the skinny population. Next, if there's food lines, the government's providing food, water, things like that. You have plenty at home because you prepared, you've been prepping. But you know what? You're going to stand those lines anyway because you need to be the gray man. You need to fit in. If, all your neighbors and friends, they're going to these lines and you're at home and you tell them you don't need to, well, that word's going to travel. That's going to get around. People are going to come to your house and they're going to make you give up your food, or they're going to try to, and you're going to have to do other stuff to defend it. And then the situation escalates. So get in those lines. Now, if you don't feel right about taking it because you say you have enough, you don't want to take it from other people, well, then you can take it and then you can quietly give it to other people. You give it to a neighbor, share it with them, leave it on their doorstep, and without them knowing, whatever it is, you can do stuff like that. If you don't, feel good about taking it, everybody's own decision, just stand those lines, get the food, and blend in. Lastly, in this category for food discipline, if your pantry is super stocked, like I said, it's packed full of food, you've got everything in there, you're ready to go for a year, that's great now. But in times of starvation, all that, you can't be like that. Someone might come in and see it. Either they just look through a window, break in, word gets out, word slips. You had someone you thought you could really trust and they see it. Then they tell someone, then word gets out, and then you have a mob outside your house asking for food because they know you have a ton of it. So it looks like that's going to happen. It looks like we're going to get into the starvation, situation. You want to empty your pantry. You want to empty the shelves, keep a few things on there, a day or two's worth. So when people see it, they see you only have a few things, you look like the rest. The rest of it's hidden, whether you put it in closets, in the attics, you bury it, whatever you do, you're going to want to hide it. That way, you're hidden from society about that you have extra foods, and supplies. I know a lot of people don't want to do that. They're saying, I prepped, I'm going to keep it. I don't want to go through the extra step, but it could cause problems. Just something for you to think about as we go forward. So that ends the food discipline category. Write down below if you have anything to add to it. And one last one, a caveat I'm going to throw here at the very end, is this is trigger discipline. This is good now. I mean, training now, times of safety, times of security, bad times, good times. Trigger discipline, that trigger finger, is not on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. When you're walking around, you're training. Trigger discipline is good for everybody. Keeps everybody safe, your friends, your family, gets you out of trouble. So as just a last parting shot, remember, trigger discipline at all times is something you should always maintain and have. So that's all I have. As a review, we had light discipline, noise discipline, food discipline, and smell discipline, and of course, trigger discipline. Okay, so that ends all of our talk about OPSEC, operational security. Really quick to go through it. We talked about what it was, what being the gray man is, and you just heard about all the disciplines. Once again, if you have comments about any of this in here, write them down below. Everything's appreciated. Anything you can do to help everybody is very much appreciated. Also, if you have done so and you stuck around this long, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, all that great stuff. Like I said, hopefully you got something out of this. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.